Hello. Hopefully you're out there in Facebook. It's our first Facebook Live. I'm here with Michele Belcastro, um, and we're excited to be here, hoping to speak with you about after-death communication, one of my favorite subjects.
So, hi everyone. We are sitting in our energy healing room here at the Violet Butterfly, and we have collected some. Oh, hold on. Someone is asking if we're live on your page. Is that this one, Michele?
Yeah.
So we'll invite.
Mm-hmm. So what may be tricky is that I have a Facebook account and a Facebook business page, and I've never been able to marry the two together. So there may be some on one and not on the other.
Okay.
So that's a learning experience for me. I'll have to work on that for the next time.
Okay. Oh, we have someone on.
Awesome.
Yay.
Maybe we should just invite all those on that list and see what we do.
We'll just see what happens.
There you go. So thank you so much for joining us here today for this Facebook Live event regarding after-death communication.
All right, so how about this? I will ask you one question while I'm in the process of inviting all of your friends.
Okay, wonderful.
To watch us. And then we have a couple of people.
Okay, some people from Greece as well. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Michele and Michele, nice to see you.
Oh, and Janice.
And Janice, thank you for joining us. Feel free to put some questions down. We do have some questions here that some of the clients that were here last Friday did share with us that we're going to share with you as we start to bring forth the questions.
Cool. Okay. So while we have people joining us, how about you kind of give us a little bit of a primer for what would you say to someone who's never gotten a reading before? What could someone expect?
Well, if they've never had a reading before, and let's just say that they went into a group setting where we have a small group session, I think that's the best place for them to put their toe in the water, because as they're in a group session, they'll be able to witness other people's experiences and see the validations that they get while they're getting their connection with their loved one. And it gives them the word I'm looking for, confidence, and the validation that love continues. Our loved ones continue, we don't die. And by seeing other people's experiences, it gives them the encouragement to have their own. And then in a group setting, of course, that can happen as well. But I think that's maybe a good place for them to start. And the main thing that I think is very important for people to understand is that your loved ones don't die. They hear your thoughts, they hear your prayers. It's been communicated time and time again through different readings and validations that they live life alongside of you. It's about the perception of where we are.
Wow, okay. So we'll start in with some of these other questions.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So are we regenerated once we pass or start over the same life?
Well, I can only speak to, I don't know everything, obviously, but I can only speak to the experiences that I've had over my lifetime, 60 plus years of understanding that I'm a medium and working with different clients. I have never experienced where someone had come through with the same lifetime.
Okay.
I have experienced people talk about reincarnation. I have experienced how they talk about how they regenerate their well-being when they go to the other side, and they have a life review, and they see how their words, deeds, and actions had affected their current lifetime, and get an understanding, because our earth, is my understanding, is like a university for your soul growth. And when you go back to the world of spirit, you get to have that understanding of what it is that you learned here.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about regenerating your well-being? Not to put you on the spot.
That's okay. I've had people that have been in a coma that have communicated to me, and their message to their sweet loved one who was here was, don't feel sorry for me. I'm not ready to move on yet. I'm resting. So this is someone who had been in a coma for 20 years. I didn't know I could connect to someone in a coma at that time, but it just happened impromptu, and that was the main message that they put together. There's been many others that have transitioned from illness, whether it be severe cancer, and they went through traumatic transition. And yet when they came through, they would always say, well, we're back to well-being. We're dancing. We're enjoying life. They give validations that they see things that are going on in the client's life today. They see the children that were being born. So it's very encouraging to know that once that they have as ailments, they don't have them any longer.
So the ailments are specific to the physical body.
Right.
Not to the spirit.
Not to the soul.
That lives on.
Exactly.
Okay. So you, excuse me, you mentioned the ability to speak with individuals in comas, the spirit of coma. Is that also true for other illnesses like Alzheimer's, or, and I might be getting us a little off track here, but okay. As you
well, it has happened with different clients that I've had, where I would get a message in a group setting, and it was from someone who was still alive, but they were in an altered state. So in that altered state, they're in that same space, if you will, of reconnecting. I relate this. If you think about a baby being born, a mom will have Braxton Hicks. So they get prepared and they get these pains, and it's uncomfortable. And they think, oh, we're going to go have a baby now, but no, false alarm. So is dementia and Alzheimer's like that altered state where they're teetering back and forth from the hereafter to this life? And then eventually they birth into the next life where they're back into well-being. Now, when you have a child here, it's uncomfortable to go through the birthing process. But once you have that baby, you forget all about that pain, and you just love that child. The love is what continues, right? Mm-hmm. So when it's been my experience to understand that when you go through that transition, whether it be a difficult time, you forget all about that once you transition, once you rebirth into that next life, and it's all about the love. So there's a similarity.
Okay, awesome. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our next question that Michele has not made up along the way
okay.
is can you visit anyone at any time? And I'm assuming that this question is about once someone has passed, can that spirit come and visit anyone at any time?
I believe they can. I believe they can. I could also believe they can be in multiple places at once. You may hear of a loved one being in another country, and yet they'll have a dream with, say they had two siblings, say one was in China, one was in New Jersey, and they had the dream of the same mother that transitioned at the exact same time. They had an after-death communication. This is all possible because there's no such thing as time and space in the world of spirit. And we are here in a physical form, where in spirit, they're emotion, feeling, and light. You know, it's very different, and yet very connected.
Yeah. Wow, that kind of gives me goosebumps. Yeah. Okay.
It's a different perspective to think of things from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back and
and
talk a little bit more about that sense of time.
Sure.
All right. But we'll move on to our next question. So.
And I want to thank all these lovely people for joining us. Susan and Dot and Nancy.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Elizabeth telling us that this is fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for thinking so. And if any of you have specific questions, we would definitely encourage you to send them through this the comments, and we'll definitely jump on your questions.
We'll do the best we can.
Yep. And if we, for some reason, we miss it, we'll, just remind us, and we'll get back to it. All right, so the next question we have is, how come I get a message from some spirits for a long period of time after the person dies, and sometimes for a very short time?
So I think what the person's trying to ask is, how long does it take for a spirit to connect to a medium or give an after-death communication to a loved one? From that gist of that question, that's what I'm getting. And it's really an individual process. Just as we are individual here, they are individual on the other side. And similar to the one I mentioned that wanted to rest a little bit, maybe they would take a little longer to connect and communicate. So maybe they would take 6 months, a year, who knows? I can't really put a measurement on it. Where I have had others that have, transitioned one day, and that same day they're in my face trying to give me messages to give to someone else. I mean, so it really is an individual as the soul.
So have you ever had someone that you know pass that has come back to give you a message for someone else?
Right away, you mean?
Well, so here's really what my question is. And you may not know if you don't know the people.
Right.
So are the personalities of the spirit similar to the personality of the spirit in the physical body?
Absolutely, because that's when they connect and they communicate, it's through that symbolic energy language that connects everyone and everything. They come through with their senses and their personality so that you know who they are. So that's how they connect so that you can understand.
So maybe if you had someone who spent time in this life as trying to come up with my words, a little more introspected, a little bit quiet, a little having to rest and recharge, that maybe those are the spirits that would take a little bit longer to reach out to their loved ones, or they would maybe send through proxy.
They do send through proxy. They do send, sometimes they'll send another loved one to come through and give a message for them, like a grandmother figure, say, oh, so-and-so is here, but they're just resting right now, but they are okay. They made it into the light. So that does happen from time to time. I was going to say something and it left my mind. So there was something I wanted to add on to that. They do come with their personality, that's for sure. And sometimes the larger, okay, so when I do this work, I elevate my energy level through a practice of prayer and meditation till I launch it up. There's no sense of time in the world of spirit, and it's of a higher vibration. So they have to slow their vibration down, and then the connection is made, and the information is given to me in the symbolic energy language, interpreted, and then given to those that are here. So when they come through with their personality, they want to let you know who they are. And they may come through very quiet and like you dig it out. But what you'll find in a group session is that there could be the one that is stronger that breaks through that path to give you that message. So I tell people to acknowledge the spirit that it's coming through if you understand who it is. Because even though you may not have wanted to speak with your aunt and she's coming through and you wanted to speak to mom, you need to acknowledge her because then she'll bring through mom. Oh. So many times people will sit there and I have to tell them, if you understand it, acknowledge it, because they could be the stronger force that's breaking through for the quieter one to come through.
Wow.
Hopefully I made that understandable. I rambled a little bit, so apologize.
Hey, this is all good. This is all good. We're getting all kinds of thumbs up and hearts. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yep,
hey, Carol Ann.
Yep. All right. So this is kind of the same thing, but maybe a little bit different.
Okay.
How soon after death do spirits typically communicate?
It's on an individual basis. It can be right away. It can be, take a while.
So I had an interesting experience lately, and maybe you can provide a little bit of insight.
Okay.
So you had your gallery reading here at the Violet Butterfly on Friday, which was amazing. We had 10 people, and it was just beyond anything that I could expect. But as you were reading, you asked very specifically about the name Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody claimed Frank. But I knew that that Frank was mine,
Mm-hmm.
even though I had no idea who the heck Frank was. So you gave me some details, and I went home and I spoke to my husband about Frank, and he was able to validate that it was actually his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that that happens a lot, that someone will come to you with a message to somebody else just so that it will hop over to someone else?
Oh, they multitask like no one's business. They know who's going to come to the groups before we even have the registration. Some people, they do come, and the last minute they change their mind. Someone else comes in their place.
Mhm.
It is all set before we even show up.
Okay.
And they know that they're going to give you a message to go give to your husband, because maybe he wouldn't come to
Mhm.
this event to be open to it. So yes, definitely, it is so beyond us.
That is just that's so cool. All right, so we have a question here from
Okay.
Janice. She is asking, what is the best way to raise your vibration?
I truly believe meditation and quieting the mind is the best way to clear out the cobwebs in between here and allow that space. If you have some challenges to meditate, there's different ways that you can also have that intention that you want to reach to the loved ones and raise your vibration. Intention is very powerful. If you surrender and have faith, let me back up a little bit. So you want to make the intention that this is what you want to do. We all have spirit guides listening to us. When you make that intention, they will engage and you can ask for help and they can help you. Now, many of us have the attachment to the outcome, meaning we want to know how, we want to know why, we want to know all these different things of how this is going to work, make the process, get the administration done, all that stuff. I'm going to ask you to put that aside and give it up. Give it up to those that you care about, those that you love, those that you believe in. And so set your intention, say a prayer, and see what happens. You can also put paper and pencil next to your bed. You can do it before you go to bed to have that intention and see if you get a message while you sleep. Because when you sleep, you quiet that mind, it's go into an alpha state, and it's easier to make a connection. So hopefully that answered your question. There's many more ideas. You can probably check out my books, and I give you more information in those, like Spiritual Guidance, Trusting the Voice Within. There's a whole chapter on a lot of that. So good luck.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. We have another question. This is from Susan. Have you ever experienced a spirit you did not want to acknowledge? Perhaps an evil spirit or one with bad intentions?
No, thankfully. I set my intention for the highest good. I have had challenging spirits or personalities come through with a message, but the message has always been for, even though it may be an uncomfortable one, it was for the greater good of a healing to take place. And I work with my guides to protect me, and we do it that way. Intention is really important, and to have faith and have that connection.
So your intention is basically to only communicate with love and light.
Well, I say a prayer before I launch up,
Mm-hmm.
and to have it come through with love, understanding, and respect. And plus, I have a maintenance practice that I think everybody should, because we're physical and non-physical, and you got to take care of that non-physical energy. So that's part of that.
Okay.
Did I ramble?
Maybe it's just me. I totally blanked out, and I'm not sure that I really heard the answer, but that's okay.
Okay. What was it? You can re-ask the question. I'll do my best.
Okay, so there's a lot of different spirits with different vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this earlier. Spirits with a lot of different vibrations. Some that are more feeling of love than others. So your intention is to connect with love.
My intention is to be the best channel I can be,
Regardless what comes through.
regardless of what comes through.
Okay.
But my practice is law of attraction. You're going to bring out love without fear. You're going to be able to receive without fear. And even if there is an energy that isn't of the highest vibration, I have my guides and the angels that work with me to help me get that message in a way that I can receive it.
Okay.
And hopefully deliver it clearly.
Wonderful. Yes, that answered it that time.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Okay, so let's see here. Someone has asked us, how soon after hearing a message does it need to be given to the person that it was intended for?
I don't think there's a rhyme or reason with that. I believe there's a divine timing, and there's been times I've had messages that I haven't had the opportunity or the right timing to give to another person, and I think they give it to them. It was just the time that they needed to hear it. So I trust in spirit.
Okay. All right. How do you zero in on specific spirits?
I am not in control. Let's put it that way. But what I can do, and what I tell clients to do, is they hear your thoughts and your prayers. So you can, without verbally saying it to me, you can think it in your head. And many times they're going to be thinking and talking to their loved ones before they even come to visit me. But think about it, and they're going to hear you. Most of the time that works, and they do come through. But it's not up to me. Mm-hmm. But I believe in the power of intention. So if I intend to speak to someone, or I've had that success with that.
Okay. So Nancy asked us a question.
Hi, Nancy.
Do you ever get any messages from animals?
Yes, all the time. I love them so much. Yes. They'll come, they'll acknowledge that they were there. A lot of times if they were put down, they give gratitude for being kind to them. Yes, I've had dogs, cats, horses, fish, turtle, all kinds of animals.
Huh? Fish, turtle?
Mm-hmm.
How do they communicate?
The same way everyone else does. Because there's the symbolic energy language that connects everyone and everything. So you can even talk to,
a fish and a turtle.
I could talk to a fish and a turtle.
I love it. I love it.
They have vibration. If you have a pet at home, and you go and you pet them, or you can sense and feel them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know that. I've got 2 cats.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked to my horse that's passed. So.
Yes.
All right. So moving on. How can I connect to my loved one?
Well, I believe everyone has the ability to do what I'm doing. If it's bringing the awareness to that symbolic energy language that connects us all. And in the second book, The Spiritual Guidance, Trusting the Voice Within, I believe that helps to give you an interactive exercises to learn how to bring that awareness to you. Now, let's just say that that's not in your wheelhouse to do. You should try and do it through sleep. Because as I mentioned before, it's the easiest place to connect. I would suggest having a quiet time before bed, not to have the TV on. Say maybe a prayer, talk to them a little bit, put pencil and paper next to your bed, and always, always, always give gratitude once you receive. Don't second guess it. Don't have an attachment to it. Just let it go and see what happens.
Awesome. Okay. What does my loved one do in spirit?
Well, they don't just hang out waiting for us, that's for sure. They, and I can't speak to, of course, everyone, but I have had more than several, I've had spirit come through and tell me that they do different things. Now, on a personal note, I can tell you my brother came through. It was years ago. I was sitting at the end of my bed and I wasn't very happy, and I was thinking of him. I go through my morning just like everybody else. And I was, he had recently passed, and I was like, I hope you're okay, and I hope you're doing something fun. And all of a sudden I felt something in my stomach, and it came up, and I started to smile. And he says, I make people smile. So that's what he was letting me know, that what's what he did. I've had others come through that say that they assist in the guidance of letting them know what their next lifetime would be. I've had others that come through and say, we go to the children's hospital and we help other children. Maybe they were a child when they passed and they help other children. So there's many, many different roles that they take, but they're on a different, they're in the non-physical. So emotion, feeling, and light.
So Janice has asked, I will sense someone in my area and I will say hello or ask to identify, and I never get an answer. Why?
I don't know. I can't tell you that, why you're not getting an answer. I would suggest to mix up your practice a little bit. So I'm assuming that you have some form of, whether you meditate during the day, whether you take a walk in nature just to relax your vibration and ground yourself. And hopefully you're doing all of that and then asking for a connection. Then once you receive it, you give gratitude. So I'm not sure what your practice is that I could come back and tell you what to do. I do have a counseling service on my website where people do connect with me because they're having experiences and they need to have a little guidance on how to make it their own. And that may be something you might want to explore. It doesn't matter where you are because we do it just like this.
Technology is so amazing.
And spirit doesn't care.
Awesome. Okay. So another question. What is the difference between our loved ones in spirit and angels?
Well, I can give you my perspective. I sense things on a vibration and a feeling, almost like a level and a layer. And when I was writing the first book, Being Light Driven, Finding Inner Guidance, I became aware of a very high vibrational being that I refer to as Angel Guide. Now, when I started to connect with Angel Guide, the vibration was so intense, was so high, and so full of love, it made my eyes tear. And to me, I got the feeling that they were angelic, as a high vibrational being. So there's many different levels of great, good love, but that high vibration I refer to as an angel. Hopefully that answered okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, so I have to tell you, that is our list of questions tonight.
Okay.
So if our wonderful friends have any other questions that they would like answered, now is the time to put them up.
Hi Lisa, how are you? I am. This is my first time doing Facebook Live, and I'm having a blast. So it's a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy it as much as we did, and we'll do it again.
All right. Well,
check out the website if you want. 2, communicate.net, and the Violet Butterfly is here in Palm Harbor, Florida.
Mm-hmm. And we'll send out some kind of a notification. For our next Facebook Live.
Sure.
And ask everyone to provide questions if there's anything that you're wanting to know. And don't worry if it's a question similar to what we talked about tonight, because we're inspired all the time to answer things in slightly different ways that make sense at that exact point in time.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you all for joining us, and we'll hope to connect soon.
Yes.
So now you're in charge. I don't know what to do.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, and namaste.
Namaste.